in a split second, your whole life can change. And next thing you know, you was here, and then you can end up somewhere else where you don't want to be for hella long, and then you're going to be in there thinking about all the stuff I should have done, thinking about all the people you love and how they're outside and you're locked up, looking at the walls or your TV. They're walking around. They can eat whenever they want. You feel me? Man, I took my freedom for granted until I got locked up.
Asian and Pacific Islander youth and parents face many obstacles when encountering the juvenile justice system.
My experience, I would say a bad experience because I really don't know what to do.
When we went to court, it was so difficult to understand the system and the message, the word that they were using.
I didn't know where to go to get help. I just go where they tell me to go and do what they tell me to do.
When we met with the lawyer, they told us that we had chance to say this and that, but we didn't understand, you know, what we're supposed to say, and without the translation, it was very difficult.
I'm speaking this as, you know, my parents. You know, they want to help me, but they don't know how to help me, and I mean, I guess it hurt them deeply. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if your child's in trouble and, like, you know, you don't know what to do.
Just because the police, the district attorney, or the probation officer thinks your child should be incarcerated, keep in mind there may be better options. In Oakland, even though Asian and Pacific Islander youth are arrested at a lower rate than others, once arrested, they have the highest conviction rate of all races. Are Asian and Pacific Islander youth more criminal than other kids? The truth is they are less prepared to navigate through the system.
I think navigating through the juvenile justice system can be very complicated, and if you aren't informed, if you don't have access to the right information or to specific resources, it can be very overwhelming for a young person and their families.
Parents have children interpreting for them when they speak to a probation officer or a police officer. They have no idea how to access services. There is a language barrier at virtually every stage of the juvenile proceeding.
Because our culture is so different from this American culture, and our kids are raised in here, I think we have different parenting skill and a lack of education.
You have these cultural barriers that don't make it easy for a parent to understand fully some of the different laws and the different procedures that go on in a courtroom. They can get lost.
Parents, communicate. If you don't know how the system works, ask someone, like your child's probation officer. If you aren't comfortable speaking English, ask for a translator.
When I learned about he was arrested, I felt like my heart was melting.
I guess they embarrassed my parents, you know, for having a child like me who get in trouble and stuff like that, and it make my parents look bad.
There's no one can advocate for myself. You know, if my children are in trouble, even though we feel so shameful, we have to try to find a way to help.
Key figures. There are key figures that you will encounter as you go through the juvenile justice system. Know the people who will decide your child's future. Public defender is a lawyer appointed by the state to represent the youth.
Each child will be appointed a free lawyer. Many times they are public defenders or they can be contract attorneys. Later on, if there is a determination by the judge that the parent has resources, the court can charge attorney's fees.
Parents, make sure you have an attorney. It is advisable to hire a private attorney. If you cannot afford one, ask the police or the probation officer for one. Please refer to your pamphlet for more advice. District attorney is a lawyer who represents the state. The DA is the person who files charges in a criminal case.
I've told people, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, like, I'm not a social worker. My job is not to, keep your kid out of trouble. I decide if I'm going to charge them with a crime or ask that they be sent somewhere as a result of a conviction for it.
Remember, the DA's job is not to do what is best for your child. Their job is to protect society and punish offenders. Judge, the person who hears the case in court and decides what will happen to the youth if the charges are found to be true.
The main responsibility is to try to do whatever is in the best interest of the child. It means do whatever needs to be done to try and effectuate rehabilitation.
The judge is the most important person, as he or she will decide the outcome of your child's case. Probation officer, the person responsible for the youth's case and writing a report that tells the court on the best way to proceed regarding the youth.
Probation officer present all the facts to the judge. Everything they say will be very important. The ultimate goal, I can say, is for the protection of the public. And the second goal will be rehabilitation of the probationers. In juvenile, we call them minor.
Make sure that you know exactly who the probation officer is, and you have the probation officer's phone number and any other method or manner of contact that the probation officer has.
Probation officer can actually do a lot of things, trying to just either reprimand the minor and the parents, or refer him or her to some sort of program, anger management, if they fight, things like that. So we kind of divert the kid, making the referral to the district attorney. So after they completed all those conditions, we can close the case within the probation department. They don't even have to go through the whole process.
Parents, communicate. What the probation officer knows and thinks about your child will make a difference in whether to press charges and sentencing. There are many different steps and procedures within the juvenile justice system. Please follow along with your diagram to see how the process works. Getting arrested.
I was grabbed by the police and I was thrown to the fence. And I was scared, I guess, because that is my first time getting arrested.
Okay. Anytime a child is arrested or a probation officer speaks to the child regarding an incident, the police or probation officer has to read the child their Miranda rights, and that is, you have a right to a lawyer. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you. Do you understand these rights? Do you give up these rights? What this means is the Constitution affords everybody the right to remain silent. You can never be forced to admit that you committed a crime and that your own statements can be used against you in a court of law.
I recommend them not to say anything. Just keep quiet, and sometimes the officer do threaten you and stuff, but it's just best if you just don't say nothing to them.
It is extremely important that you contact an attorney before you speak to a police or probation officer, and you can always contact your local public defender's office or call any attorney out of the local bar association.
Whether detained or arrested and given a notice to appear at a later date, the first interview with the probation officer is very important.